Welcome to the Active Documents for Purchasing Media demo. The purpose of this demo is to give you a walkthrough of the Active Documents for Purchasing module and its capabilities. The Active Documents for Purchasing module allows customizable HTML remittance advices and POP advices that incorporate essential drill-down functionality to be emailed directly to your vendors. Your vendors will receive the documents immediately in a flexible format that will allow detailed on-screen analysis and investigation. The results? Less time spent on ongoing stationery fees and less time spent on administration. Let's take a look at the software. Before we can start sending our remittance and POP advices via email, we need to carry out some setup. So we'll start in Tools, Setup, Purchasing and Active Documents Purchasing Setup. Here we can set up as many what we call profiles as we like, and these dictate the look and feel of the remittance advices that are received. You can see we can change things like the background colour, font colour, face and size. We can choose to include our company logo and whereabouts on the remittance we'd like to include that. We can create some text that will appear in the email. We can create links to our website. And we have a very useful way of getting information across to our vendors in a banner text window. We can choose to include screens, including contact details and transaction details. Again, we can choose by using the tick boxes exactly what details our vendors can see. The setup for POP advices is very similar. If I just show you that quickly. If I select one of my profiles, I've got a purchase order profile here. Most of the fields are the same, but we have different screens that we can choose to include or exclude. We have contact details again, but this time we have terms, and we can choose to then include items ordered, or we can exclude those. So once you've set up your profiles, the next thing you need to do is create the email addresses. So you would choose each of your vendors, and you would say by ticking the box whether they are going to receive their remittance advices via email and or their purchase advices via email. And if they are going to receive those documents via email, you need to enter the email address and any copy or blind email addresses as well. So you would go through each of your vendors allocating email addresses as necessary. Once that's completed, you're ready to send your documents. So let's start by sending a remittance advice. Within the Active Documents Mailer purchasing window, we first select the profile that we want to use for this remittance run. We then choose the payment run for which we'd like to send out remittances, and by doing that, it lists all of the people that you've paid within that payment run, and if they've got an email attached to them, the email will show in here as well. If there is an email address, Active Documents will suggest by ticking the box that you would like to send that remittance via email. If there is no email address associated with that vendor, it will put a tick in the print box. And then to send all of your documents at once, all you need to do is hit the send button. If you don't want to send one of these, you can simply untick the box. If you'd like to print it instead, you could hit the print box. And then to print off all of the documents at once, you would simply hit the print button. Now, let's send some purchase orders. We can send a single purchase order, and we do that from the purchase order entry window. So I'll just select an order that's already on the system. We have a link then within the additional button here to email a single POP advice. This then picks up the creditor ID and the associated email address, and to send that purchase order via email, all we need to do is hit the send button. It's as simple as that. If we would like to send lots of purchase orders at once, we have a mass sending routine in the Print Purchasing Documents window. So within here, I just need to define the purchase orders that I'd like to send. I shall select Arrange. and insert those. I'm also going to tick the reprint previously printed POs checkbox, as I've already printed some of these in the past. We use the additional tab again and we have email pop advice option. When we select this, it will return to us the details of all of those purchase orders that are in our criteria, and if that vendor's got an email address associated with them, it will show us that and suggest that we want to send that purchase order via email. If there is no email address associated, the box will stay unchecked. But at this point you could obviously add an email address onto any of the suppliers' details that do not have an email address already. We then select the default profile and hit the send button to send all of these purchase orders to our vendors all at once. So let's take a look at some of the documents that get received by the vendors. Here we can see an email where a remittance advice for advanced office systems has been sent. There's some text within the email and the remittance advice as an attachment. If we click on that, it will open up the remittance advice within Internet Explorer for us. The format of the remittance advice is per the profile that we set up within Active Documents in GP. So on this occasion we have a white background with red column headings, and we have our company logo in the top right hand corner. Your vendor's details are on the left hand side, and details of the total payment amount, the date and such like are on the right. We scroll further down, we get the transaction details. So these are the details of all of the orders that we've placed with the vendor, and if they want to drill down to see more information, they can click on the document number, and that gives them details of the purchase order. They can see things like the quantity ordered and the unit price. We have a return to start button which takes us back to the main view, and here we can see the total amount that was paid in this particular payment run and the documents that make up that amount. We also have the links at the bottom as per the profile that we set up. So on this occasion we have a link to contact details and one is a link to our website. We also then have our scrolling bar, which you will see on all of the windows on the remittance advice, which is a very good way of getting information across to your vendors. Now let's take a look at a pop advice. Again, here is an email and we've got some text within that email with the pop advice attached. If we open that up, it will open it up in the Internet Explorer for us. This time the profile is slightly different and we have a background which is white with purple column headings, but we still have our logo in the top right hand corner. We have the vendor's details, we have the ship to details, purchase order number and purchase order date. We scroll down a little, we can see things like the shipment method, payment terms, who we're delivering to, and then the actual details of what's been ordered. So on this occasion we've got some white phones. You can see how many have been ordered, unit price and extended price of those items. So the vendor can see very clearly what you'd like to order from them. If we scroll down slightly further, we have our links. So we have the link to the purchasing department contact details, a link to the website, full contact details for the company, and a link to terms and conditions. Here you can see we've set up some terms and conditions that note that they need to give the purchase order number on their invoices in order for payment to be immediate. And we can return back to the start and back to the main window. Again, we have our scrolling banner at the bottom in order to communicate with our vendors, maybe a news item. So let's take a look at some of the reports back within Active Documents in GP. To create reports for Active Documents, we go into Reports, Purchasing, Active Documents Reports. There are three types of reports that you can run. Purchasing reports gives you a full audit trail of all of the times that you've sent remittance advices to your vendor. And I'm going to run that one. So let's hit Modify, check the destination is to the screen, and I'm just going to run it for one particular vendor, Advanced 001. If I hit the print button, here's my report. You can see we've got Advanced Office Systems as the vendor. We then get the audit trail, so the payment run for which the remittance was sent, the profile used, an email address it was sent to, and the date on which the remittance advice was emailed out. Other types of reports. For remittance advices, we can run a reprint report to see how many times a remittance advice was sent out. And Purchasing Enabled gives us a list of all of the vendors with email addresses attached to them that allow you to send their remittance advices via email. We have the same types of reports for POP. So the standard POP reports is an audit trail of all of the purchase orders that have been sent out to vendors. Reprints gives you the number of times each purchase order was sent out. And POP Enabled gives you the details of all of the vendors that have email addresses attached to them that allow the purchase orders to be received via email. So let's take a quick look at that report. I'm just going to run it for a number of my creditors, not all of them. I'll check the destination is to the screen and hit the print button. Here's my report. We have the vendor ID on the left, vendor name, the email address that they have attached to them, and whether the email has been enabled for us to send purchase orders to them via email. That concludes the Active Documents for Purchasing demo. If you have any questions, please do feel free to contact us. You can email sales@swareindex.com or contact us on one of these telephone numbers. Thank you.